Hello YouTube. All right, I think I got a good video for you guys today. What we're gonna do is I'm gonna show you an easy way to hot wax your bike chain. Once you go to the hot wax, you'll never wanna go back to using any kind of oil, any other kind of lube besides hot wax. Benefits of hot wax are it's pretty easy to do, it lasts for a long time, makes your chain basically waterproof so that it's not getting rusty, dirt just flakes off of it, it's easy to maintain. Realistically, I have a couple bikes, so I do one hot wax per year and then I maintain it throughout the course of the year. Maybe if I got into some gnarly weather or started riding a whole lot more, I'd do the hot wax more than once a year. But basically to me, this is once a year bike chain maintenance and then maintaining it with oil the rest of the year. So I'm gonna flip the camera around, show you just a couple things that I like to use. Now the actual waxing part is super easy, but hang with me. I'm gonna show you just a couple cleaning tools I like to use. But seriously, you can clean this a lot more basic than I'm about to do. All right, so because it's just wax, the idea is to get a pot of boiling water and you can pour the boiling water across your whole chain and over your whole drivetrain, and it's supposed to melt the wax off. It'll just drop to the ground. You can hose everything off. I'm gonna scrub it a little bit while it's all apart because like I said, this is a once a year maintenance thing that I like to do. First things though, before I start scrubbing and cleaning, you may as well check your chain tension. If you have one of these tools, you just install it on your chain and you look to see if this end drops in, and it is not dropping in at all. This chain was new last year, so that tells me that this chain is still in good shape. If this happened to drop all the way in like that, see, I've got it loose back here. If it had dropped in all the way like that, that'd tell me that my chain is stretched and that it's time to get a new chain. Now this is just an optional thing. I'm just checking though, because like I said, this is once a year chain maintenance for me. But if you have one of these tools, great idea to check it. All right, so I got a pot of boiling or water boiling on the stove. While it's boiling, I'm gonna turn the camera around and show you the wax machine and setup that I made. Okay, so this was just something cheap from Amazon. It's a Homedics, some kind of spa paraffin bath. It's essentially if you're putting feet in, but it came with a huge brick of wax, and you just put it inside this tub here, and then you got to make yourself a little tool, which I'll show you in a second, to dip your chains in. I find that this heats up a lot faster if I cover it with a couple of oven mitts and some towels. So right now the wax is good and wet and liquid because it gets hard in between uses. So I've got that sitting there, and you can just use plain wax. I do have one thing I'll tell you about the wax in a second. Then my tool, which is seriously, this is it. It's a wire hanger shaped like an L. I bent it. It's got two prongs sticking out the end, and you feed your chain onto that so that you can dip it in the wax, just like dipping a candle. And then you just hold it up and you let it dry and you take it outside. Then you can flake off the excess. So this water's almost boiling. We're gonna go take that outside and pour it on the chain. All right, so what I was gonna tell you about the wax, you can just use straight wax, but a lot of people like to add some Teflon to it, and they'll get Teflon powder either from the internet or somewhere else, I guess. But what I like to do is there's a can, aerosol can. They sell it at the hardware store or maybe an auto parts store. I forget the name of it. I'll find the name and I'll put it in the description. But it's a spray can, and it's a liquid that dries, and it's got Teflon in it. So essentially it's like a white powder when it dries. It goes on wet and it dries. And I like to add that into my wax and then stir it up really good. So it's already in my block of wax right now. I don't need to do it again. But all I do is I put a tube on the aerosol can. It's like on a can of WD-40 with the red tube. And I spray it inside of a bottle, just an empty like water bottle, and I put some paper towel around the top so that it's not spraying out. And that's how I collect everything from inside the aerosol can, so that it's not getting out, but I'm collecting that liquid that turns into a powder so that I'm able to pour it into my wax. Now, a cool thing with the wax is in between uses of doing this, it'll last forever. You just let it get nice and hard, sit on your countertop, you can put the whole box away until you're ready till next time to do your hot wax. So I'm gonna go check on the boiling water and see if it's at a full boil yet so I can pour it over the drivetrain. All right, I got the boiling water, pour it over the drivetrain. Okay, remember I said in theory, all you have to do is the boiling water and everything should be clean then, and you don't have to do a bunch of scrubbing. As you can see, this chain it's not spick and span, but I run my finger along it. It comes out pretty darn clean. It's a little bit of grime, but not too bad. I wouldn't want to wax it exactly like this level of dirt, but it's not bad. I've heard of doing it without doing any further cleaning. Now I'm gonna clean mine because it's a once-a-year maintenance for me. But then I'm gonna show you the super easy way to wax your chain. That's the whole main reason for our video. Okay, I got this tool. It just clamps right on. Put the top on, and then you flip these levers over, and it clamps the tool down. You just seriously just hold it and rotate the pedals. You're gonna rotate them backwards. There's a couple of brushes in there and a sponge, and you run the chain through it, and it's gonna really clean that chain up good. All right, now take it off. Again, you just flip the levers, lift it up, drop it down. All right, now you got yourself a pretty darn clean chain. Next, I'm gonna use my hose. Just gotta clean everything off, rinse it off. You don't want to contaminate your wax with simple green, so I'm gonna clean this off real good, rinse it off. All right, now the next thing, so I'm gonna find my master link, which actually happens to be right here. I got lucky, got this tool here. This tool, you squeeze it, and it jaws come together. So you just insert it in the chain there. You squeeze, and it pops it open. Pops the master link off, just that easy. Now I can take my chain off, and I can let it dry. I can go ahead and take it in and dip it in the wax. In the meantime, I'm also gonna use a scrub brush and just scrub the gears up a little bit and the pulleys, just make sure everything's real nice and clean while the chain dries. And then I'm gonna go inside and I'm gonna wax it. Okay, I got the chain real nice and clean. You can see it's pretty darn clean. Not maybe as clean as a brand new chain, but it's awfully clean. By the way, if you got a brand new chain, you want to get the factory oil off of it. I recommend myself a little bowl of gasoline or any kind of degreaser, but gasoline was really good to take any kind of factory oil off of the chain. But what I do is I lay it down on the counter and just get it spread just kind of like that, so it's bunched up. Now I got my tool here and I'm going to slide it in between the gears. I'm going to need 2 hands for that, but I'll show you once it's slid in, so that gives me, I can hold the chain up and I'm able to dip it into the wax. All right, so I got the chain sitting on the tool now. You can see how it works. It's just a piece of coat hanger bent like an L, and the chain just slides right on. So nothing to it, just like that. Now I got my wax bath. I'm gonna zoom in, show over here. So we got a batch of the wax. I already told you about doing the Teflon spray, which is not totally necessary, but it's something I like to do. And this is literally, if you've ever been to the county fair and you're dipping candles, it is the same idea. I'm gonna dip it a couple times, shake it around a little bit, try to get any air bubbles out. Just like a candle. Dip it a couple times, get it good and coated, and I'm gonna let it drip. Okay, now I'm taking it outside. It's a nice breezy day. Want to let this cool. You want to let it totally cool. Then you're gonna have a bunch of wax to flake off. But that's not a big deal. You just sit there and work the chain and the wax will flake off, because I coat it really thick like that. I want it in every little nook and cranny. All right, there we are. Got the chain on, flaked off all the excess wax. You can still see little bits, but not much. It's just, it'll flake off now as I ride, and it'll stay clean for a long time. Now, in between rides, I like to use this product, Squirt Chain Lube. It's a wax-based lube. I like to put it on after I ride because I want it to dry before the next ride. So I don't put it on before and have it be wet and flinging around. I like to put it on after my ride so it's ready for the next ride. All right, so that's the very easy method of hot waxing a chain, and it works. It works great. I did some unnecessary stuff that you might not need to do. Some of the extra cleaning, adding in the Teflon, totally not necessary, but it's something I like to do. Besides that, it's really easy. You're not going to get your leg dirty. You're not going to get your hands dirty when your chain slips off. It's going to be clean. It's going to be dry. I ultimately severely think that using hot wax is far superior to any other kind of lube for trail riding. For road riding, I can see you still using oil. I understand it. But for the trail, mountain biking, hot wax is absolutely the way to go. All right, hope you like the content. Please like, comment, subscribe. Sure do appreciate you watching. Thanks very much. Bye. All right, so I stopped by the hardware store. I think this is the stuff that I've used to add to my wax before, but I think any of these dry ones would work. This non-stick dry film lubricant looks pretty good too. I'm kind of curious by this DuPont Chain Saver wax-based lubricant. That might be pretty neat to try out, but I don't know if I would want to add that to my wax or not. Might be interesting, but again, I think pretty sure this Blaster dry lube is the one I've used. Seems to work pretty well. Thanks.